Think about the last time you went for a walk. Maybe it was this morning, or just a stroll to the mailbox at the end of the driveway. Everything felt normal, didn't it? You were just walking, the same way you've done it since you were a toddler. But did you notice the sound your shoes made on the pavement? Was it a clean, rhythmic step, or was there a faint scuffing sound? Did you find yourself looking at the horizon, or were you staring 3 feet in front of your toes, making sure the ground stayed where it was supposed to be? Most of us reach a point, usually somewhere in our late 50s, where walking stops being an automatic background process and starts becoming a negotiation. We don't call it that, of course. We call it being careful. We call it watching our step. But the truth is, your body has quietly started to change the way it moves to compensate for things you aren't even aware of yet. And while these changes feel like they are keeping you safe, they are often the very things setting you up for a fall, or putting a tax on your joints that your knees and hips simply cannot afford to pay. Today I want to talk about the 5 specific walking mistakes that people over 50 keep making. These aren't just bad habits. In the world of biomechanics, these are dangerous glitches in your software. And the most surprising thing, you probably don't even know you're doing them. My name is John Connell. I've spent years looking into the microscopic ways the human body adapts as it matures. I'm fascinated by the difference between aging and drifting, because aging is inevitable, but drifting into these dangerous movement patterns is something we can actually influence. Mistake number 1, the gaze trap. Looking at the ground. Let's start with the most common one. I call it the gaze trap. I want you to imagine a captain of a massive ship. If that captain spent the entire voyage staring only at the wooden floor of the deck right in front of his feet, what would happen? He wouldn't see the waves coming from a mile away. He wouldn't see the lighthouse. He wouldn't be able to adjust the ship's course until it was far too late. When you walk while staring at the ground 3 or 4 feet in front of you, you are doing the exact same thing to your nervous system. Your brain has a remarkable ability to process the world in the periphery, but when you lock your eyes on the ground, your neck tilts forward. This shifts your entire center of gravity. Suddenly, your head, which weighs about as much as a bowling ball, is no longer balanced over your spine, it's hanging off the front. This forces your lower back and your calves to work twice as hard just to keep you from face planting. You feel tired after a 10-minute walk, and you think it's because you're out of shape. It's not. It's because your body is fighting the weight of your own head the entire time. But looking down isn't just about neck pain. It leads directly into the second mistake. And this one is the most recognizable sign of aging that most people never realize they are exhibiting. Mistake number 2, the handbrake, the shuffle. Have you ever tried to drive a car while the emergency handbrake was still pulled up just 1 or 2 notches? The car still moves. You can get to the store, but the engine groans. There's a smell of burning rubber. You have to push the gas pedal much harder than usual just to maintain 20 miles per hour. Mistake number 2 is walking with the handbrake on. In the medical world, they call this a reduced foot clearance. In common language, we call it the shuffle. As we get older, our brain starts to get a little nervous about balance. To feel safer, it stops us from lifting our feet fully off the ground. Instead of a clean lift and step, we start to glide and scuff. This feels safer because your feet stay closer to the ground. But it's a lie. When you shuffle, your toes are far more likely to catch on a rug, a sidewalk crack, or an uneven piece of grass. You aren't avoiding a fall. You are inviting one. More importantly, shuffling turns off your glute muscles, the big muscles in your backside that are supposed to power your walk. When the glutes go quiet, the knees have to take over. If your knees have been talking to you lately, ask yourself, am I walking or am I scuffing? Because your knees weren't built to be the primary engine. They were built to be the shock absorbers. I want to stop here for a second. I want you to be honest with me and with yourself. Go to the comments right now and type the word sound if you've noticed that your shoes make a shushing or scuffing sound when you walk on a quiet street. It's okay to admit it. Recognizing that sound is the first step to turning off that handbrake. I read every single comment, and I want to see how many of us are hearing that signal. Mistake number 3, the locked hinge, locked knees. Now let's talk about mistake number 3. This one is especially common for people who have had some knee pain in the past. Imagine a beautiful, heavy garden gate. To work properly, the hinges need to be oiled and allowed to swing through their full range. But what happens if you put a metal clamp on that hinge so it can only move 2 inches? Eventually, the pressure from trying to force the gate open will rip the hinge right out of the wood. Many people over 50 walk with locked knees. Because they are afraid of instability, they keep their legs too straight. They don't allow the knee to go through its natural soft bend and snap cycle. When you walk with locked knees, every time your heel hits the pavement, a shock wave travels straight up your leg. It bypasses the muscle and slams directly into the bone and the cartilage. It's like jumping off a 2-foot ledge onto concrete over and over again, 5,000 times a day. That stiffness you feel in your lower back every evening, it might not be a back problem. It might be that your knees have stopped acting like springs and have started acting like stilts. But here's the thing, your legs can't work like springs if your upper body is acting like dead weight. And that brings us to mistake number 4, the one that usually makes people look stiff and fragile from a mile away. Mistake number 4, the pendulum failure, no arm swing. I want you to think about a grandfather clock. Inside, there's a pendulum that swings back and forth with perfect rhythm. That pendulum isn't just there for decoration. It provides the momentum that keeps the entire mechanical system in sync. Your arms are the pendulums of your body. When you walk, your right arm should swing forward as your left leg steps forward. This counter rotation does something magical. It neutralizes the twisting force on your spine. But as we get older, we start to guard our core. We hold our arms still. Sometimes we keep our hands in our pockets. Sometimes we just let them hang like dead weights at our sides. When your arms stop swinging, your spine has to absorb all that twisting energy. Your walk becomes blocky. You lose your rhythm. And most importantly, you lose your momentum. Walking without an arm swing is like trying to run a marathon while holding 2 heavy suitcases. You are working twice as hard for half the distance. Mistake number 5, the flat landing, slapping the foot. Finally, we have mistake number 5. This is the landing gear failure. Imagine a massive airplane coming in for a landing. If that pilot just dropped the plane flat onto its belly, it would be a disaster. The landing gear is designed to hit with the back wheels first, then roll forward onto the front wheels. It's a transition, a roll. Your feet were designed the same way. Heel, then arch, then toe. But many of us start to slap our feet down. We land flat-footed. When you slap your foot down, you are failing to use the strongest tendon in your body, the Achilles. You are losing the recoil that makes walking feel effortless. If you feel like you have heavy feet, or if you find it hard to keep up with others on a walk, look at your landing. Are you rolling like a wheel, or are you slamming like a hammer? Personal stakes, the dark truth. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Why does it matter if you shuffle a little or look at the ground? Because your body is a use it or lose it system. When you make these mistakes, you aren't just walking badly. You are slowly rewiring your brain to accept a smaller, more restricted life. Shuffling leads to weaker glutes. Weaker glutes lead to unstable hips. Unstable hips lead to a fear of falling, and fear of falling leads to staying home. This is the silent shrinking of a life. It starts with a scuffing shoe and ends with a person who no longer trusts their own body to carry them across a parking lot. Most of the frailty we see in people in their 70s and 80s wasn't inevitable. It was the accumulation of these 5 mistakes that nobody ever pointed out. But it doesn't have to be your story. The good news is that your movement software can be updated at any age. Tomorrow, when you go for that walk to the mailbox, I want you to try the horizon reset. Lift your chin, look at the trees or the houses a block away, not the ground in front of you. Exaggerate your arm swing, just for a minute. Feel how it pulls your body forward. Listen to your feet. Try to make your walk silent. No scuffing, no slapping. Just a quiet, smooth roll from heel to toe. You'll find that after just 2 minutes, you feel lighter. Your breath will come easier. Your knees will feel less loaded. You aren't just walking better. You are telling your nervous system, I am still here. I am still capable. I am still in control. Your body is not a machine that is wearing out. It is a miracle that is waiting for the right instructions. Give it those instructions today. I'm John Connell. If this helped you see your daily walk in a new light, share this with a friend who loves to walk as much as you do. Keep your head up, keep your arms moving, and I'll see you in the next one.